Hi guys, this video will provide an overview on the SSL VPN features on a Fortigate firewall. SSL VPN is a remote access tool to allow users to be able to access services within the internal network remotely. I've got a topology here, so this remote user who will be on the internet can access or should be able to access this IP address, which will provide access to the web portal living on the Fortigate firewall, and from the SSL VPN web portal should be able to access resources on the internal network here. So I've got an internal, not a server, but a Windows 7 laptop, and it can respond to pings. So if we do a ping to the laptop, it should prove reachability from the remote user right through the Fortigate appliance to the internal network using SSL VPN functionality. So if we start the demo by logging into the Fortigate appliance and look at the SSL VPN features. And we can see I'm using a Fortigate 80C physical appliance for this demo. The task we will be configuring, we'll have a look at some of the advanced SSL VPN features we can turn on if you need to use them. You don't need to turn them on otherwise. We'll create some firewall addresses, we'll create a user to be able to log in with, and we'll have a look at the portal settings as well as configuring a firewall policy as well. So if we go to config and features, and if we scroll right to the bottom of this page, there's two features in particular. That's this one here and the SSL VPN realm. So the SSL VPN personal bookmarks management, we can turn this on from here. So these are personal saved bookmarks for resources, and we can apply that here, but we can also turn on SSL VPN realms as well. With realms you can create custom login pages for different types of users, so we'll have a look at this later. And if we apply it, we've turned on these two features, so now we'll be able to see the features inside the VPN menu. So next we'll have a look at network addresses, and if we go to policy and objects and break down the objects icon and go to addresses. So from here we can create two addresses to later use in firewall policies, and one is for the local network and another for the SSL VPN users when using tunnel mode. So there's already a predefined SSL VPN address, which is this one. So we can use this for the VPN users, and it's got an IP range of 10.2.112.134.200 to .210. So if you've got a problem with this, if it conflicts with any of the addresses in your network, you may want to change it by double clicking it and changing the address range from here. Otherwise we will use this in our demo. Then we need another one for the local area network. So if we go back to the diagram, we can see our internal network is on the 10.10.10.0 range, so we can use a subnet address for that. So if we create new, give it a name of LAN, so we'll have it as a type subnet, but you can use any of these other options if you need to, and we'll give it the subnet address of 10.10.10/24. And the interface, it's coming off the internal network, so we'll go for internal here, interface, and it's visible. You can specify a comment here or click OK for creating the address. So now we've got the LAN address in there. Next we'll create a local user to be able to log in with. So if we go to user and device, user definition, we can click create new from here. By all means you can integrate with Radius for users or even TACAX or LDAP from here as well, but we will stick with the local user option. So click next. I'll give it a user and a password. Let me just type that again just to make sure I typed it in correctly. Click next. I'll skip this option with emails, make sure it's enabled and click create. Then we can go to user groups. We can create a user group instead and call it something like SSL VPN users, and then we can select our user as part of this user group. So in the future, if you want to create more users, you just create them and then make them part of this user group. So later in the firewall policy or in the SLVPN portal, you just have one user group with all users belonging to that user group, and you only specify the group instead of the individual members. So if we click OK here, and we'll create that. So we've created our SLVPN users group, and we've got one member inside it from here. So next we'll have a look at the portal configuration. That's the SLVPN portal. So if we go to VPN and break down the SL menu, and we can see various options in here. We'll have a look at portals to start with, and we can see we have 3 predefined portals, and you can create new ones as well from here by clicking create new. But we'll go back into portals. We'll have a look at these predefined ones. Got tunnel access, and tunnel access provides the ability to create a tunnel from the end user laptop into the network, as if the user was in the office. So he can just use the laptop as normal, open up his Outlook, access his emails, etc., as if the user is sitting inside the office. Then we've got the web access, which provides applications you can launch from a web portal. So it's a web proxy, and then from the web portal you access resources. You either create them using connection tools, or you'd have bookmarks saved where you've created them in the past, and you just double click the bookmarks to access the resources. And the final portal is the full access, so this provides both tunnel access and web access. So if we go into full access, we can see the options inside here. So these are the tunnel mode settings, and these are the web mode settings. If we look at these options, enable tunnel mode, so this will enable tunnel mode access. The next option is enable split tunneling. If you select split tunneling, other traffic such as internet traffic will not be routed by the Fortigate appliance, it will go direct from the client. So if it's disabled, all traffic is routed by the Fortigate appliance, and you can govern it, all the traffic by turning on anti-malware features, etc. So if you have this turned on, it's less secure but quicker, because it's not, all the other traffic is not governed by the Fortigate appliance. If you keep it turned off, it's more secure, but it's going to have an effect on performance. Routing address. When you enable split tunneling, we need to specify the routing address, which is the internal network or the networks behind the firewall we need to access. So we've got our LAN address object, and we can specify that from here, and then you can add more networks as long as your Fortigate can reach them. You can create a connection towards them. The next one is source IP pools. So this is required for remote access users to acquire an IP address. There is always a default pool available, so you do not need to create your own, but you can do, and we'll just use the default one, which is this one here, already predefined. So we've got client options, which is to do with the FortiClient application and how it connects to the tunnel. And we have 3 options here. So we've got save password. So with this option, their password is stored on the user's computer, and it will automatically populate each time they connect to the VPN. Then we've got auto connect. With this option, when the FortiClient application is launched, for example after a reboot or a system startup, FortiClient will automatically attempt to connect to the VPN tunnel. And then we've got always up here. With always up, the FortiClient connection will not shut down basically. Then we've got the web mode portal settings. So the first option is to enable web mode, so this will enable web mode access. Then we can specify a portal message. So this is a text header that appears on the top of the web portal, which you can define with something like my VPN service. You can specify a theme, so you can provide a color styling for the web portal using this option here. So we'll go for something like orange. Page layout, so you can select 1 column or 2 column layouts for the widgets that appear on the web portal page, so we'll stick with the 2 columns. The next one is we've got include status information. Status information widget displays the login name of the user, the amount of time the user has been logged in, and the inbound and outbound traffic stats. So for that information you can keep this checked. The next one is include connection tool. So connection tool widget lets you connect to an internal network resource without adding a bookmark to the bookmark list. So you can select the type of resource and specify the criteria such as URL or IP address of the host, for example. You've got include FortiClient download, so you can select this to include the FortiClient download option in the web portal to download the FortiClient application. Prompt mobile users to download FortiClient application. With this option, users are prompted to download the FortiClient application. You can reject it if you wanted to. You've got include login history, so select to include login history on the web portal. And then down here, you've got enable user bookmarks, so you can select this to include bookmarks on the web portal. So bookmarks are used as links to internal network resources. And you can create predefined bookmarks from here as well, so you can specify or create a category name and specify a name for the bookmark. You can select the type of bookmark, RDP. The options change according to the type. You can even put username, password in, etc. for RDP, but you've got various resources in here. And the last one is limit users to one SSL VPN connection at a time. So you can select this option, which means the user will only be able to log in once. He can't log in or she can't log in from another system, such as an iPad, for example. So if we click OK here, we'll save the settings, and we've had a look at the portals. And the next part is to have a look at the connection settings themselves. So these options are to define how users can connect and interact with the SSL VPN portals on this Fortigate. So we'll have a look at the first option, which is listen on interface. So here you choose the interface which the Fortigate will use to listen for SSL VPN tunnel requests. So this is generally your external interface connected to the internet. So ours is you can have it as any if you're coming from multiple interfaces. We can have it as WAN 1. That's our external facing one. We've got a listen on port, and you'd want to change it to something other than 443, otherwise there's a conflict with the administrative access on HTTPS. So we'll change that to 9443 here, and the warning disappears there, and it also gives us the address we can connect to. So HTTPS and the address followed by the port here. So restrict access is the next option. You can either allow access from any host or to limit access to specific hosts as desired. So we will go for allow access from any host. Add a logout, so you can specify the logout users when inactive for specified periods, basically. So it will log you out, and you can specify the inactivity time here as well. We'll go for never log out inactive users. And then there's the server certificate. So select the signed server certificate to use for authentication. If you leave the default settings, which is self-signed, the Fortigate unit offers its factory install certificate from the Fortinet to remote clients when they connect. Looking down here, so this one requires client-side certificates. When the remote client initiates a connection, the Fortigate unit prompts the client for its client-side certificate as part of the authentication process. So for additional security, you can have this enabled as well. Tunnel mode client settings. So some further settings down here. So these are for once connected in tunnel mode, clients will receive these settings. So the first one is address range. So you can automatically assign addresses in which the Fortigate will tell you from which range it will assign them from, or you can manually specify them by using the custom option here. And you can specify the address object. So we already have one in here, or we can go for automatically and it will specify the range here. So you can specify DNS server, you can specify up to 2 here, or you can use same as client system DNS. You can put in a Win server, you can allow endpoint registration. That's your Forti client, so it will register the Forti client application. And you've got finally the authentication portal mappings. So you can assign users or groups to realms and portals, so they get specific web pages to log in from and a specific portal customized for them. So if we have a look at this, all other users groups are assigned to portal full access. Let's give them portal web access only. Click OK. Let's make sure that's applied. And if we go to realms, we can create our new realm from here. So if we click create new, let's give it a name of full access, or you can give it a name of HR or finance or whatever it's required. And then login page HTML, you can customize all this, give it a different theme and a different look for these users. And then if we click OK here, if we actually go back into full access, we can see the URL page required. So you can see at the end it's got full access now as the custom URL page. So if we go back to settings, and if we go right to the bottom, we can create a new portal mapping. So create new users and groups, we go for our SLVPN users. Realms, we go for the full access realm we've just created, and the portal, we'll give it full access portal. Click OK. So now we've got two rules or portal mappings. We've got one for our SLVPN users, which I'm assigned to. I've got a username in there which has the realm of full access and a portal full access. Everyone else has access only via the web portal. So if we go and click apply, and now we've got the address here. If we right click open a new tab, that's not opening, but that's this bit I've forgot to configure. So no SLVPN policies exist. Click here to create a new SLVPN policy using these settings. So if we click here, and we can further customize this, configure this. So source address is SLVPN tunnel address. Source users will be the SLVPN users. Outgoing interface, so this is the interface towards the local area network, so that will be internal. Destination address will be our object we created earlier on in the video, so LAN. And schedule will be always service. Let's go for all. Action accept. Let's click OK here. So this takes us back to the settings area. Just apply that to make sure everything's applied. And now if we right click open a new tab, and we get access to our VPN portal. So if we log in, actually this is not going to work, is it? Because we have assigned that account to SLVPN users, which is part of this realm full access. So if we go to the realm, it's got its own web page now, which is here. If we log in from here, so now we're logged in to the VPN portal. I think this is just a Google Chrome issue, a plugin issue, and it's here as well, the error. But we've logged into our VPN portal. We can see the name I gave it, the message. We've got session information here, login history, nothing as of yet. We've got options to download the Forti client. We've got connection tools, my bookmarks. So on the other side of this Fortigate is an internal server, but it's not. It's just a laptop, Windows laptop, and it's responding to ping, but nothing else really. So we can just test to see if it's responding. So if we go to ping, give it the IP address, and click go. So we get a basic response back just to show it's reachable. So you can use the connection tools. You've got all sorts of resources here, of various number of resources, like RDP for example, and then you can customize the screen width, height, username, password, etc. Yeah, so it depends on which resource you have. The options change for you. And if you once you create resources, you can also create bookmarks as well. You can add bookmarks, so you don't have to keep creating them from the connection tools, you just have the bookmarks ready and saved. So you can just double click it to go to your resources. I think that's it for this video. Thank you for watching.